You ready to learn? 'Cause you're gonna learn today, boy.
Hey everybody, I'm Jamie and welcome to the ABQ737 experience. This is the first video in a brand new series I'm calling the Learning Center. It's going to be a series of educational videos teaching about all aspects of flight. These will kind of fill in the gaps in between the sim building while I'm waiting for parts. So this first video is going to be about the principles of flight, just the very basics to get people on board with what we're doing. And without further ado, let's get going. So what makes an airplane fly?
Well, you see, magical unicorns sneeze and the wind blows you way up in the air.
Not exactly. There are four major forces that act on a plane during flight. You have to understand these four before you can go on to the more specific principles. So they are lift, which is what keeps the plane up, thrust, which is any force that propels the plane forward, gravity, with a subcategory of weight, is anything that brings the plane down and counteracts lift. And then the final one is drag. And that's any force that counteracts thrust. So let's talk a little about lift. So there was a gentleman named Bernoulli.
Bullpucky.
Bernoulli.
Baloney.
Okay, say it with me slowly. Bernoulli.
Boo-ha-ha.
So Bernoulli's principle states that as a fluid's velocity increases, its pressure decreases.
But like, planes don't fly in fluids.
That's true, but it also applies to air. So here we have the wing of an airplane. Notice that this is facing forward, the bottom edge is flat, and the upper edge is curved. This creates what we call an airfoil. So as air makes its way to here, some of it's going to go over, and some of it's going to go under. Now, as air travels over the airfoil, its velocity is going to increase, which means that the pressure is going to decrease, creating a low pressure zone above the wing. The air that's flowing directly under the flat part here remains at the same pressure. Now, high pressure will always try to make its way to low pressure. So there is high pressure below, low pressure above. That creates less resistance and the wing is able to pick up and we have lift. Alright, so there's two more parts of the wing that can provide lift. On the leading edge of the wing, or the front of the wing, you have what we call slats. This piece right here moves forward, creating more surface area, thus creating more lift. And the second one, which most of you have probably seen in real life, is on the trailing end of the wing, and it's called the flaps. When you're getting ready for takeoff, or just before you go to landing, you start to hear all the noises out of the plane. Bzz, 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 bzz. That's this right here. And what it does is it extends downward, which causes the air that's coming under the wing to now deflect off of there, which causes more lift. It's time for thrust. So thrust is any force that makes the plane go forward. This can be accomplished in a number of different ways. The most popular ones are propeller, jet engines or turbines, turbofans, turboprops, lots of different configurations for that. Now, as we talked about in lift, there has to be enough wind coming over the airfoil to create lift. And to do that, the plane must be traveling fast enough or have enough headwind to accomplish that. If you don't have enough thrust, you'll never be able to acquire the needed lift. Speak!
Gravity.
Now, most people are familiar with Sir Isaac Newton.
Boo-ha.
Don't even think about it. Now, Newton's third law of motion states that what goes up must come down. And what he's referring to there is, of course, gravity. So, gravity is constantly pulling things back towards the ground. So for a plane to fly, it has to overcome this with both lift and thrust. So the more weight an aircraft has on it, the more lift it will take to counteract gravity. More lift requires more thrust. It's time to talk about drag. So drag is any force that attempts to decelerate the aircraft. The most common for this one is going to be wind resistance. Now the shape of the aircraft are not an accident. It's years and years of design and trial and error to try to make sure that the wind goes around the aircraft with the least amount of resistance possible. This makes it so the engines don't have to work so hard and don't waste as much fuel.
So drag is like totally the enemy, huh?
Sometimes, but not always. Sometimes we use drag to our advantage. When the plane lands, the wheel brakes simply aren't strong enough to stop the aircraft in time without overheating and most likely catching fire. So we have spoilers on the top of the wings. Those are those flaps that come up like this. They create a lot of drag, which helps slow the aircraft down. There's also reverse thrusting. So a turbine can open up the back of the engine and redirect the flow of the exhaust to push it forward, which creates a opposing factor to speed, which slows down the aircraft. The same can be done by feathering propellers.
But wait, there's more! Let's talk about the axes that the plane moves on. Back to you, Jamie.
So the first axis we're going to talk about is pitch. Now, this is the axis on which the plane rotates up and down, nose down. This is accomplished through the elevators, which are control surfaces on the back of the horizontal stabilizers, and that's accomplished by pulling back on the yoke or pushing forward on the yoke. Before you say it, I know, I'm not an artist. Roll is the axis to where the plane facing forward is going to roll left and right. The wings will come up and down. This is controlled by the ailerons, which are little control surfaces on the back of the wings. They look like this. And it's accomplished by rotating the yoke left and right. So the third axis is going to be yaw. Now this is the aircraft being pushed side to side, with this being the center point. So the back end kind of wagging its tail like a dog. So the way we can control that is through the rudder. It's a control surface on the back of the vertical stabilizer in the back and is controlled by the rudder pedals inside of the cockpit. Alright guys, that's all I have for this time. I'd love to hear what you thought about the video. Please leave some comments down below. Let me know what you loved and what you hated, what you'd like to see more of and what you'd like to see less of. Please hit that subscribe button and let all your aviation buddies know about the channel so we can continue to grow. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who subscribed in the last couple of weeks. We've been growing fairly quickly and I do appreciate each and every one of yous. So, if you have any suggestions for other videos you'd like to see, let me know. I'm also working on a Q&A video, so if you guys have any questions for me or would like to know anything, just go ahead and ask. If you have anything else you need me for, the email address is down below. Also is the link to the Facebook page. Until next time, I'll check you guys later.